This was the last video we shot at the old studio, and I'll be back again after the motor install to show you just how good it performs. In today's video, I'm going to be installing this XLB-60 RACE motor on my ERIDE PRO SS 2.0. Now I bought this motor maybe 5-6 months ago, right man? I bought it when I bought that XLB core motor that I have on my Surron. And man, I love that thing. It's fast. I think that one's around 12,000 RPM, but this one's even faster. Here we have the XLB-60 RACE motor, the spacer kit that came with it, the harness for the XLB-60 motor and EBMX 9000, and the heavy hitter primary drive conversion. And because I have this Chi Titan, which has around maybe 430, 440 amp discharge on it, I should be able to get around 32 kilowatts out of this motor. Now I'm also going to install this heavy hitter direct chain drive, which I put on my Surron as well, and I love it. It's a lot lighter than the stock steel parts, and it does keep the same gearing as the stock belt, but it will make it a lot more reliable because I don't have to worry about breaking belts. So let's get this thing started by first removing the bash guard. Then I'm going to loosen up the 4 motor bolts, but I won't remove them until I get the controller back so I can get to those phase wires. I have the bike flipped over here because it's a lot easier to install the motor and the chain drive like this. That's how I did it on my Surron, so that's how we're going to do this one. And I have all my tools here ready to go, including this laser alignment tool so I can make sure the front and rear sprockets are aligned. Let's start by removing the bash guard using this 8mm hex T-wrench to remove the 2 mounting bolts on each side. With the bash guard removed, I can now get to the motor bolts and spacers. There are 2 bolts on each side of the frame. I'm going to just leave them loose for now and not remove them yet. After taking the EBMX X9000 controller off the frame, it's much easier to get to the back of the controller to disconnect the stock motor phase wires and then connect the XLB-60 to it. The last thing to disconnect is this motor plug, and it's in this rubber boot with all the other connectors near the motor. It really helps to organize all the takeoff parts and hardware when removing them off the bike so you can keep track of which spacers go to which motor bolt. Now I can fully remove the 4 bolts and pull the motor out. Pay attention to the left-right orientation of the jackshaft spacers when removing or installing, as they are different sizes. And if you want to put a direct chain drive on your ERIDE Pro or your Surron, you definitely got to have one of these so you can remove the axle that's holding the jackshaft in. When I put a primary chain drive on my Surron, it was actually pretty easy. I didn't even remove the swing arm. I kind of got lucky, and I'm going to see if we can do it again. I have the wheels supported here with a perfect height, so when I pop this axle out, I'm hoping the swing arm won't move. And I left the suspension fully connected to sort of hold the swing arm in place. I had this 9.5mm stainless rod made for before when I did my Surron, and it really helps. It's really easy to pop the axle out. And when I go to reinstall the chain drive, I can use this to line everything up. Now let's get this over to the vise so I can put that chain drive on. Before installing the new motor, I cleaned the spacers with a scouring pad and also removed the grime with some iso alcohol. I also cleaned off all the old thread locker from the mounting bolts, as there was a ton. All right, now that I got all the parts nice and cleaned up, let's put this one in with my soft jaws. So this is the sprocket that's going to go on the jackshaft, and this is the sprocket that's going to go on the motor. Now you want to make sure that the orientation is for which bike you have on the outside. We'll do some alignment check with the sprockets later on with the laser to make sure everything's lined up right. Before I put this sprocket on the jackshaft, I'm actually going to use this spacer that came for the EBMX XLB-60. So I'm just going to put this spacer down here, and then the sprocket's going to go down on top of that. And what this is going to do is it's just going to push this sprocket out just a little bit more to help with the alignment. After applying thread locker to the bolts, tighten them down in an opposing fashion, but not all the way tight, just snug. Let's torque these to about 12 Nm. Put some grease on the jackshaft spacers before placing it back into the frame. Now this one will just fit right in, and I just need to line up the swing arm with the frame, then I can get that axle back through. Now I want to make sure that my sprocket alignment is good before I tighten anything up. So now let's install the motor and check the alignment. Just put this nut and washer here for now so I don't lose it. Time to put this new motor in. Just get it into position and I can get the bolts ready. So I'll take the second longest bolt and this 23mm for the front. Everything lines up really good. Now the motor is pretty much installed. Everything fits great. The spacers all working. Motor looks straight, but we need to check this alignment. So I'm going to put the sprocket on and use my laser to make sure that these are completely aligned. If not, I'm going to have to add some spacers somewhere. We're going to want to put the ERIDE on the outside. Put the key in. Installing this motor wasn't as straightforward as I thought. When we initially put the motor on, we couldn't get the chain to fit with this direct chain drive because there are screws that are coming through the bottom of the battery tray that actually need to be cut because the motor will hit them as you go to tension it down and you can't get this chain on. I'm not sure if it's different with the belt, but if you're going to put a primary chain drive in the XLB-60 on an ERIDE Pro SS, you're going to have to Dremel down the bolts for the battery tray that come through underneath where the motor goes, or else this thing will not fit. Keep that in mind. Now all I need to do is tension this up with the pry bar and get the tension on the chain right. Now for the tension on this, you want to be able to move it maybe a 3/4 of an inch to a 1/2 inch. You don't ever want to have this primary chain too tight or you will destroy your jackshaft bearings. So now I will set the tension on this. I don't like the way these spacers fit in the kit. The motor is still a little bit loose. So I'm going to grind these down. Just need to take like 1 millimeter off of this thing. That's it. And it will fit good. Like about half a thickness of one of those spacers. So I had to take the tensioner out to get everything to fit right because the motor needed to go farther down and the tensioner was hitting this peg here on the frame. And I just used a same thickness washer as the tensioner. And this actually seems perfect. So I can just use this pry bar to tension it. It's no problem. Looks good, man. With the motor fully installed and the tension set, we just need to finish up this wiring. The XLB-60 came with this new cable, which plugs into the harness for the X9000 and also plugs into the bike harness here and has the encoder plug for the new motor here. So I just need to put this cable in, connect these 3 phase wires, here, here, and here, and then I can mount the controller back to the bike and we can test this thing. I'm gonna put some heat shrink on this because there's a lot of dirt and water gets in here when I'm riding. Reuse the old rubber boots for the phase wires to give you a little bit more water protection there. Yep. Hell yeah. Now let's go into the EBMXAPP and set up the initial configuration for this motor. I'll select my device. So the first thing I want to do is let's check and see if there's any firmware. Everything's up to date, so we don't have to do that. Let's go into the settings and let's check out general. Bike type, ERIDE Pro. Motor type, XLB-60 RACE. Street mode battery current limit. Let's set both of those to 400. And we'll go into the gear ratio. My wheel diameter is about 590. And let's save that. And it should ask me to calibrate the motor. And yes, start. Make sure that the bike is on a stand. You can see the back wheel will spin a little bit and it won't calibrate right if the wheel is getting caught on anything. So you really need to put it on a stand for this. And we'll just wait a bit. Successfully calibrated. Let's save. And now let's go into the throttle. We'll go over the fine tuning on this later. But for right now, I just want to on step 2, you'll twist the throttle and hold it until it's done. Save. Now let's check the motor direction. Yep, the motor direction's good. Wow. The power level goes to 40 kilowatts now, man. 40? Yeah. Yeah, this battery is around 440 amp discharge. So I don't think I'm gonna get near that. So I'm just gonna go right ahead and set the power level to 40 kilowatts. And 1,000 phase amps and save that because why not? I think this is a good place to start. What do you think?
Let's go ride.
Oh boy, that's fast. Nice day today. Real nice day. We haven't had a day like this in about 2 weeks. Bike looks sick, man. I think we should take it to that tunnel road where all those construction companies are. Yeah. I think that's the perfect place to top this thing out. I think we can get some nice drone shots. Last time I was over here, I brought the Komodo. This area is pretty good for high-speed runs, but the problem is these big trucks are everywhere because it's all like construction equipment places and junkyards. Scrap yards here. Motor's good. It's really snappy. And the tune that I have on this thing is just a lot more granular than before. Like I have to twist the throttle a lot farther back to hit the highest part of the torque band. And actually what it does is it makes it a lot smoother when I'm doing wheelies. So I think we got the perfect spot to do this. There's no cross traffic. Should be as safe as I think it can be. And just see what the top speed is. Normally I don't do any kind of high speed runs on dirt tires, but I'm not taking these off because this bike is mostly for dirt. It's for like the smaller riverside park areas. And I don't know, I guess I'm just too lazy. I don't want to put supermoto wheels on it. So we're gonna max it out with the dirt tires. The other day I did some testing on an area on the riverside where there was no cross traffic, and I was able to just open it up and hold it, and I almost hit 85. I'm so used to the Ultra being the Komodo now. I mean, the front end just coming up, even with the dirt tires. I can imagine with like a nice slick on the back. I could hear the tires slipping just a little bit, but wow. I had to throw all my weight forward to keep that front tire from coming up. Jeez. Wow. Holy shit. I didn't think I'd catch them. Damn, normally I don't ride that close to people. It hit 81, I saw it. I thought it would do between 80 and 90 for sure. I could not keep the front end down at the start. This bike feels so unsafe with dirt tires on it going that fast. It's so squirrely. The power to weight ratio on this thing is just nuts. Completely different feel than my Ultra B or my Komodo. Damn. This thing's fast, dude. Did you hit 85? No, only 81. 81 to max? Yeah. I hit 81 twice. I just keep running out of room. I get down to the end and I have to hit the brakes. But this is... We need a bigger road, man. This is a very long road. I know, but I can't do it over there where all those photographers are. So I'm like I'm starting where that white car is. Okay. I'm trying to hit my top speed in just this short little, like 1/8 of a mile. But the bike is sick. I mean, it's doing 81. It easily does like 81 to 85, even just on this short piece of road. To me, that's pretty sick. I mean, if I had a much longer road, I'm pretty sure it could probably hit 90 on like a really fresh charge. I think we need to find a longer road, man, where there's no possibility of any cross traffic, and I'd probably go for it. But this is sick. Way faster than my Surron, for sure. So this XLB-60 race motor spins higher. It has a higher RPM and definitely a higher top speed, for sure. There's no way I could get near 85 on my Surron, so this is pretty sick. So now that we've been screwing around on the pavement, what do you think we go to that little park over by the studio? Find one of those stupid little jumps to jump. See if we can make some custom jump. You should be coming down here any second. Oh man, why am I just my luck? I run into some straight up. Yeah, here he comes. This is badass. No, come over here, dude. Oh man, that was crazy looking. Let's go quick before the city workers come. I'm thinking something like this. So this XLB-60 install truly went perfect. The bike absolutely rips now. And I think I found a new place to bring these little toy e-bikes to have some fun. I think that's gonna do it for this video. See you guys in the next one. Peace.